I never saw this coming. But that's a true statement of reap what you sow. You know, I took him in, we hung out, we played games, we did our thing. I didn't really remember him at the time. He came to me later on and said, you remember that kid you hung out with during that first tour? Because I don't do things to remember it, I do things because that's who I am. You understand me? So when I do a good deed, I don't write that down in my memory that I did that for you. I don't care. You know who knows I did that? You and God does. That's all that matters. But he remembered. So he came back and what he's doing for me right now.
Pretty amazing to be here today and look at, like, I mean, you've seen MMA come up from nothing, and now you're here in this, multi-million-dollar facility.
You never know what God has in store for him. I never knew at that time and he actually was talking to my people back then about them trying to get involved because that I wasn't the talk guy they were, and I couldn't really make the decision because they were doing it with their money, they were doing their thing, and I know that they hate now that they didn't do like I did and put him in because look what he has grown us into. So
you mentioned when you fought Ruiz.
Yep.
And now Andre Ward has put on some weight and he's talked about, specifically mentioned you doing that as something he wants to do as well. Do you think he could be successful with that?
well, you never can say what a person can be successful at doing because nobody would have thought that I could do it. So I'll tell you, if I did it, I think of course he should be able to do it because it is not easy. But I know who Andre is. And with the fight, with the tenacity, with the heart that he has, it's like when we go out to set these marks, we set them for these guys under us to try to follow the top or even set it even higher. So for him, he is a guy who has came up and watched me set a mark. He wants to go even higher because he wins the heavyweight title. He's gonna do probably what I didn't do, which is win the cruiserweight title too. You feel me? So he can take the mark a step higher. So I don't see why he couldn't be able to do it. I mean, it's not gonna be easy, but if anybody could do it, I think it would be him.
Roy, Anderson Silva used to throw out your name quite often. I wonder how interested were you in that at the time, and how close did that ever come to happen?
Well, man, to be honest with you, I was so interested because I knew that just like the Conor McGregor-Mayweather fight turned to be one of the best events of all time, I knew that the Roy Jones Jr. Anderson Silva event would have been one of the best events of all time. So when you talk boxing, it's one thing. When you talk MMA fighting, it's another thing. But when you talk events, it's a whole nother light. And so many people from that world, because they knew that he idolized and watched my boxing moves, he even used them sometimes when he fought. And he was one of the most superior guys they've had in the UFC. So if he learned from this other superior guy who was in boxing, and he used to box himself anyway, then why would you put them in the ring together just to see what happens? Because it's still something that people want to see. You watch it right now, right?
Absolutely.
I definitely would watch it right now. If I wouldn't even Roy Jones, I still want to watch it. Because I want to see how good he is at pulling off Roy's tricks and could he use Roy's tricks against him. Yet I also want to see what Roy come up with different and new because he's copying all Roy old stuff. You got to come up with some different because the stuff you want to do, he knows it. So it's not going to work on him. So it's more of an event than a boxing match. And the events always outweigh boxing matches. You understand me? It's like back in the days, the Super Bowl is good, NBA All-Star game is good, NBA Championship, the finals is good. If we have an epic game, we have a good game. But when we play the All-Star game, you got the best of the best. We all want to see how that happens. How they will merge on the court. How will this guy and this guy play together? How will that guy stop this guy? It's stuff we can't dream of. That makes it an event. That's what makes it so fun and so big. So now it's kind of taking the fun out of it because they don't go as hard as they used to back then. But back then we got to see a dream once a year. We got to see sometime Larry and Dr. J play together against some other people when we used to see them butt heads. You understand me? So that's what events do. And so an event like that will probably still pull me out of retirement.
Did Dan's fight come close, or why didn't it happen?
Dan is the man with that. He had other plans even before Anderson when I was trying to make it happen. So when you have a plan, when a guy draws out like this whole compound is for something that you plan to do. When a guy has a plan, it's kind of hard to change the plan because he already got a plan drawn out. So most of the time when I ask him about the fight, he already had a plan or something he's working on trying to do. I don't get it wrong. Sometimes different things, different attributes play a factor in those plans and you don't get to do it the way you want to do it or the way you want to do it. So sometimes the things that he had planned did not mature. But it was never a time that when they did mature, we could go and make our fight happen because usually when he said he had plans, I went on and did something else.
Is that still a fight that interests you?
Of course it is because like I just said, it's not a fight, it's an event. The events always interest me. And because we were trying to do it before they did. So of course it's a huge event that interests both of us.
So you would come out of retirement for that fight?
Of course I would. Why not? And I would get in top shape and and be ready to win it because I'm not planning on losing nothing. Only thing I want to lose is weight. That's it.
Has Dana brought that up?
We really haven't had a chance to talk about it yet. As of late, we was trying to put this together first because he is trying to get into boxing and putting UFC Fight Pass and Roy Jones on UFC Fight Pass boxing match was a big step toward getting him into the boxing ring. So that's what we've been talking about first. But quite naturally, I'm sure that will come up because I know Anderson still wants it. And if he wants it, of course, I still want it because, like I said, it's not a boxing match per se. It's an event.
What do you think of Dana White getting into boxing?
I think it's a brilliant idea because he has a lot of things that he's learned from the UFC by doing things his own way. Brought the UFC to a spot where boxing never has gotten to yet. You understand me? So it's like with those different ways of looking at it, you bring new blood, new ideas to a game, you're gonna make that game go up. So I look forward to him coming to boxing because I think with that, you take boxing and take it up to another level.
Do you think he'll pull some of the UFC fans over?
Of course he will, because like I said, even with these events like this, that pulls some UFC fans over already because of the event. So now he can help this side get better and this side get better. You're gonna have an even big event at the top when you do decide to an event. So why would he not?
You have your own promotion company. Do you see yourself working with them in some of your events?
Of course. That's why we're doing it now. So my whole goal is to put us together so we can work together. You know, it's like everything I do is always to help people come together and work together. You know, it's like people say, you got Russian citizenship. I got Russian citizenship because they offer it and they're very nice people. And it's like 90% of the population knows Roy Jones Jr. as a fighter. So why would we start at a lower level trying to make us come together as people and realize that relationships, being together as people are more important than warring with people because we go to war with all these people. We lose loved ones. Why should we war when we don't have to? Why can't we talk and we're humans? We have the best means, the most means of communication, yet we have a hard time communicating. Why? You feel me? That's crazy. So if you got him who's trying to get into boxing, me who's a superior boxer with an already promotion company, and I do MMA and boxing, then why wouldn't we come together and make it better for both of us? It'd be crazy not to.
Well, you think boxing's ready for that? For the longest time, it's been boxing versus mixed martial arts. It hasn't been the two communities kind of working together. I know you promoted cards, but do you think the community as a whole, as a boxing community, is ready to start embracing MMA?
That's a good question, and let me give you a good answer for that question, okay? When you see two guys come together and make over $100 million, you think it's good for each other?
Yes.
Okay. Easy answer, right?
Yep.
You'd be a fool if you didn't support UFC and boxing because look what y'all can do together. Huh? Conor McGregor made more money than most fighters that fight have made one night. He's not a boxer, he's a UFC guy. Why wouldn't you want to come together with UFC because they can make that happen for you? Why wouldn't you bring the two together?
How much
What
of
was
this
the
event
hardest-
is Zuffa boxing and how much is your promotion?
It's probably 50-50. You know, we doing my promotion too, but of course we want to help Zuffa Boxing get their feet wet and get into it the right way. So anything we can do to help Zuffa Boxing come on board and go quick, we're gonna try to do. So it's 50-50 to me.
What was the hardest thing, mentally or physically preparing for a fight at your age?
Physically. Mentally, I ain't, listen, let me just explain something to people. People always worry about my mental capacity and how I'm gonna be. I was crazy when I started boxing. If you can't mess a crazy guy up, you're already crazy, right? So mentally, I ain't never had a problem getting ready to beat somebody's child up. That's just what I did when they know. You put your child out there, I'm gonna whoop it. That's what I was programmed to do when I got it. That's not a problem. Physically, it's very hard for that body to hold up at 49 to what it used to hold up to at 29. So the physical part is the hardest part because you have to keep your body tough in all the preparation and all the things you do to get ready for a fight. That's a long process which takes a lot of dedication and hard work, but your body has to be able to withstand that hard work or you won't succeed.
You mentioned how there's not a clear-cut pound for pound number one. A lot of people think it's Crawford, a lot of people think it's Lomachenko. How do you have it ranked?
Say that again?
The top pound for pound boxer right now.
Yeah.
You mentioned how it's not clear-cut like when you were at the top. A lot of people think it's Lomachenko or Crawford. What's your opinion on who's the best right now?
My opinion on that is it's as follows. There are a lot of guys that can make that claim to fame. If Ward comes out of retirement, of course he should be the one because he beat more people. And he made adjustments to people. He neutralized more guys than anybody. So he would be my number one off the top, right? Lomachenko and Crawford would be number 1A and 1B because they fought whoever we fought to. However, we have not really seen seen Lomachenko in an adverse situation. He lost this year. I've seen Crawford really in an adverse situation because nobody let him push it ahead. So we don't really know until we get them pushed to those points to be able to figure it out. But to make a long story short, when I was fighting, I didn't want there to be no questions. So I made sure when I went in that ring, that before I came out there, you all knew who the best was. And to show you that, you can go look at the YouTube highlights right now of everybody, and you're gonna find one dude who your kid wanna watch again. His name gonna be Roy Jones Jr. Why? Because he fascinated you when he got in that ring. He didn't just beat the guy, he fascinated you while he beat the guy. While he was working on that guy's head, he was fascinated you, showing you things you never seen before. So when you wanna rise and top pound for pound, it's a little bit more than just boxing, and that's what they're not getting today. So I was highly offended, and he's my colleague, my friend, I love him like a brother. Jim Lafley, when he went to put Chocolatito in 1 pound pound. How? Who did he beat to become the 1 pound pound? What did he do to prove us? I mean, yeah, he does look like an Aguero clone, but Aguero wasn't even the 1 pound pound in his time. He was a great fighter, don't get it wrong, but he was never a top pound for pound guy. So how do you go put his pupil who hasn't really took it no steps higher, you put him in 1 pound pound? Who did he get me no one? What did he show us?